All right, it's September the 19th, 2023, and this is the order that was sent to me 8/30/29 from the judge of the federal court in Greenbelt, Maryland. The judge says that he gave me 45 days to which to file proof of service to these defendants. As you saw in the recordings, we have proof that we serve them. And that he gave me 14 days from this date, 8/30/29, or he was going to dismiss my case. My civil lawsuit against these defendants. This is the judge, y'all. Today is the 19th, and we're waiting for this dismissal order so we can take it up to the appeals court and provide evidence through recording that not only was these people served, but all documents, official documents of this serving, the summons and the affidavits, was handed to the clerk of the court in Greenbelt, Maryland. There's a criminal element taking place in our court systems today. Okay? A criminal element. I don't know, and I really don't even care because this judge should be over his clerks of his court. Somebody's not doing their job, and there's zero accountability for such actions. I paid to have my grievance heard. I followed the procedures set forth by the federal court, federal jurisdictions or administrations, and the clerk of the court, and I don't know if this judge is a part of it, remove these summons and affidavit from my civil lawsuit. And now this judge sends me this order that I have to prove I served these people. And I know a lot of bootlickers, ass kissers out here who has brought this country down to what it is now, a country full of cowards and followers, say, oh, they weren't served. They have no idea what serving means or what that rule means. It clearly states as long as they're 18 years of age and they're an officer or agent of these defendants, they can receive the summons and the complaint. That's just like me handing it to their attorneys. They're not the defendants, but they're officers and agents of these defendants. You know, I had one, if you look at one of the recordings, I have one of these bootlickers talking about the secretary is telling me where to take it. That's not my job. If I didn't tell her it was a summons, or she would have accepted it and handed it to the county executive. You see what I'm saying? So these are clowns that have brought this country down to what it is today, and I call them traitors and terrorists to the American society. But the thing about this is, this whole proceeding has went over their heads, and I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to free people and taxpayers. We pay these people to do a service. For you to lose 9 summons 9 summons. After I hand them to you and you don't put them into a civil proceeding, that's an issue. And then you want me as the plaintiff to do the job of the clerk of the court or the judge who should have been investigating this when this was brought to his attention. And it was brought to his attention because I called his chambers and spoke to his secretary or his clerk officer, whoever the young lady was, and informed her that these documents were hand delivered to the clerk of the court. I even called Baltimore, where the chief judge, and spoke to his clerk and informed them of this situation. But yet and still, they want to play smoke and mirrors with words. Then we'll do that, because I'm going down to Washington, D.C. to the Judicial Ethics Committee and present these same recordings and documents to them and these orders showing that I served these people and handed it to the clerk of the court. And now I'm getting stonewalled because criminal and conspiracy has gotten caught on recordings of doing this. And free people, I'm telling you, this isn't the first time this has happened. I can tell you that right now. This is not the first time these individuals has done this. The only reason now is because they've gotten caught on recordings doing it. I hear one individual talking about, oh, it's years and nothing has happened. Well, that in itself should tell you something, how our judicial system needs to be restructured. It shouldn't take years to have a court proceeding heard before an honest judge. That tell you just how corrupt our system is, that it takes years to get a ruling from a civil lawsuit. It should also be 180 days you must bring these civil lawsuits. We pay these people big money to have our cases heard, and it takes years to try to manipulate a civil proceedings. They take this long to get you to be discouraged, to forget about your lawsuit and not do certain things. This is why I say record everything you do. Well, it is now the 19th. The 14th day is past. And I'm now waiting for this dismissal order so I can file my appeal in Richmond, Virginia, and present these recordings and these documents to Richmond, Virginia, to show just how corrupt this courthouse is in Greenbelt, Maryland. Nobody, to my knowledge, head has rolled in this losing of these 9 official documents, because once she stamped them, they became official documents. Once I handed it to her, they became official documents and supposed to be put into this jacket. And they have disappeared out of this jacket. And that's not funny, because not one, all of them has disappeared. After I filed my default judgment, request for my default judgment, nobody responded until that was stamped and put into the jacket. So I'm telling you, free people, I'm not talking to these clowns who make these ridiculous comments, who don't know what they're talking about. I guess they're talking and thinking they're going to sway me to their way of thinking. Never. I would never be a follower. But this is the judge, y'all. So now we're waiting on the dismissal so that we can go ahead and file our appeal. Because to me, I'm done with this corrupt on this case. I got 2 other cases to be filed again, and we're going to go through the same procedure again. But before that, I'm going to put this up in the appeals court. And if need be, I'll take it up to the highest court. But then I'm going to the judicial committee in Washington, D.C. and present these same documents to them that it is time we restructure our judicial system and start holding individuals accountable for their actions. Okay? There's zero accountability, okay, in these courts. And this so-called fake immunity, absolute immunity, must go. Because this clearly shows here that there's something seriously wrong, free people. Now, like again, I'm not talking to these bootlickers, ass kissers that make these fucked up ass comments on my platform, because it clearly shows how fucked up they are. You know, they're not even talking about the issue. They're talking about stupid stuff. I got one keep asking me, oh, did I get my motorcycle back? Young man, I got 3 motorcycles. The one they took, I'm going to get it back. Make no mistake about that. Matter of fact, I think a law enforcement officer is the one that took it and so-called bought it. You know, and then they scratch the name and address. They don't understand that it is easy to reconstruct names on documents and find out who they are. We know where each one of my items are, and I'm going to get them back. And I'm going to get people's job. So sit back and watch. Yeah, it may take longer because we have a corrupt system. When you commit a crime, it doesn't take this long to get justice or put in incarceration or make you pay fines. It don't take this long. But when corruption takes place, this is what it does. It lingers, hoping you forget about it or don't do something. If I wouldn't have done what these people didn't do, this case would have been over. Nothing said about it. But because it's on the other hand now, and I do have evidence, they're lingering it, hoping that I forget about it or won't do nothing. No, I'm not going to respond to this order. This order is another corrupt conspiracy to try to justify something. If I respond to it, I'm agreeing to what they're doing, and I don't agree. I'm going to go to the next level, which is the appeals court, and present these recordings, affidavit from the individuals who serve these people, and we're going to show me handing these to the clerk of the court. So now the onus is on the clerk's office, not me. The judge should be asking what happened to these documents, and somebody should be terminated, like the clerk of the court, because she has no control. He or she has no control over her own office. But that's not what happens. They're trying to say it's my fault. Along with these clowns, oh, you didn't serve the agent or the officer. Unbelievable, isn't it? If you go back to my recording, the clerk said the U.S. Marshals was going to serve them. When that didn't work, because I kept asking had it been served and I wasn't going to go away, then they sent them back to me. Then I paid to have them served. I can't walk into the county executive's office to where his office is and hand it to him. So you hand it to the secretary. This is how stupid some of these individuals are, these followers that we have, making these stupid. I've never seen so many stupid individuals in my life. Followers. This is why America is in the predicament it's in now, because we have these individuals we have been fooled to put into offices, and they stand for nothing. They're straight followers. You know, we got a president now who doesn't even remember what he said years ago, and now we got a vice president that I think she don't lost her mind too, because she's saying the same shit she said years ago, but in a different context. She was against it years ago. Now she's for it. I mean, this country is fucked up. And it's because we have allowed these followers to get into offices and run our country to the ground. We got a president who is bringing people from other countries, giving them free lodging and free money on the taxpayers' dollars, and we got followers who thinks that's okay. These people ain't worked a day in their lives to pay taxes, and they're taking your tax dollars to live comfortable in this country because they're the new slaves, because we got these followers in office. I was looking the other day at the debate about a woman and a man. They're arguing about the definition of a woman and a man. Get the fuck out of here. This is the kind of stupidness we have in this country. And it is time we get some real common sense people to run our country. You're arguing about the definition of a woman and a man. I heard a pastor say, all you got to do is look in the mirror. All this homosexual shit that is going on in this country, it is something fucked up in your head if you think it's all right for a man to lay down with another man or a woman to lay down with another woman. And I don't care if you, woo, I'm telling you, this United States is fucked up because we have allowed these cowards to take control of this country. You know, just like this shit here that's taking place in Greenbelt. This judge wants me to do the clerk's job because they removed this intentionally or somebody lost them. And it's now the plaintiff's job to rectify this situation. As you saw in the recordings, and they want to debate about, oh, you didn't serve the person. Get the fuck out of here. If I came to these people's houses and their wife came to the door because they weren't there, I can serve her the same documents, or their children, as long as they're 18 years old and have the mental capability to understand what is going on. So what that shit you followers and bootlickers are saying, take that shit somewhere else. That shit don't work with me. Get out your mama's house and start standing on your own 2 feet and stop taking government money. Stop living on your parents, having them take care of you, and then you will understand what life is about. So that craziness you talking about, I think it's funny, but you can't sway me. I'm not a follower, I'm a leader. So you sit back and watch how this unfolds, because this ain't over with. We're taking it all the way. And like I said before, I'm going to let the free people and the taxpayers see how corrupt and how we need to change the American government. Judge, I don't know if you in on this or not. I don't know if the clerk's office telling you this or not, but I'm telling you this. I'm going to the judicial committee and I'm going to present every document that has been given to me. I'm going to show every recording. And I don't know if you've been on my YouTube platform or not, but I'm pretty sure you have, because that's what's taking so long to get this dismissal, if that's what you're going to do. One thing for sure, Judge, is this. Whatever your clerk sends to me, they're supposed to send to these defendants. And these defendants clearly were served because they responded. Common sense, Judge. Now, I'm pretty sure your clerk's office has notified you, like I notified your clerk, your chambers, when I called there, that this situation was taking place. First, you argued about $2. I paid the $2. Then you kept the summons and the complaint from me for almost 60, 70 days, 90 days. And then after I complained about had they been served, then you sent them back to me. Then I paid somebody to serve them. Then I take it, nobody else, Judge, delivered them, hand delivered them to your clerk's office, and I recorded it. And not one of these summons and affidavit is in my jacket. That's real interesting. I can see one of them missing, Judge. But all of them? And now you gave me 45 days to respond, and I didn't respond. I don't know why you sent me this order. You should have sent a dismissal order so we can get to the appeals court, because that's where it's going. And then if they don't agree to what the recordings, we take it to the highest court in the land, because there definitely is a violation of Title 18-242 in this case, which is a criminal act now. And I'm going to pursue it. I'm going to make so much noise. I'm going to go to the news people. I'm going to pursue this, because it is time we restructure our judicial system of the corruption. It shouldn't have took this long, Judge, for me to be heard in a court of 12 citizens, whether they say yay or nay. That's not even the biggest issue with me. I want to be brought before 12 people to hear my case. And because these individuals fail to answer or plea, Judge, and the thing about it is, free people, they haven't answered. All they did was put their line of counsel. They have not argued that what was written in this complaint is true or not. They haven't answered the plea. They haven't pleaded this case, answered this case. All they did was put their attorney's line of counsel. And the federal rule is very clear. There must be an answer to the complaint. No answer has been filed to the complaint from any of these defendants. Some of these defendants didn't even put a lawyer down, didn't even respond. So let's do this. This is to show, Judge, how corrupt our system of justice is, even to the point of saying paperless order. If it doesn't have a signature on it, free people, it's not an order. So how can you have a paperless order when there's no signature and it is not delivered to both parties? This is how the corruption in this judicial system. And the funny thing about it is this. I have 4 counsels, and they sat back and let me do this because this is how I wanted to do it, to show the corruption. When I serve these people, to these followers, it was served right because I do have counsel. Maybe you need to get in touch with a lawyer and find out if they were served right or not. And these are federal lawyers. These ain't none of this little state shit. And then there's a professor that teaches law. So I'm well educated on how and what I'm serving and the process of doing it. So that shit you talking on my platform, get a life. Get out your mama's house and start standing on your own 2 feet. And then maybe somebody will start listening to you as an adult, you know. But again, now we wait for the dismissal so I can file my appeal in Richmond, Virginia. Matter of fact, I may go ahead and do it because now we're past that 14 days. I'm granted 14 days from the date of this order to show cause why service or process has not been affected as directed in the court's June 20th order. One thing about it, Judge, recordings don't lie. It's in a third party biased individual, not like your court and your clerk's office. Because like I say, I can see one summons missing out of my court jacket. All of them are missing out of my court jacket. What's the odds of that? Every last one of my summons is missing out of my court jacket. After you said the marshals were going to serve it. It's a pattern here. And where there's a pattern, there's corruption. So, Judge, I'm waiting. Can we get this started in the appeals court? Matter of fact, I go to a jury trial on the 11th in Rockville, Maryland, which they don't understand double jeopardy. I went before this fictitious court proceeding in Silver Spring where the judge gave me 60 days incarceration in the county jail, or he suspended that. Then he gave me 2 years supervised probation, and I ain't went to none of that. Matter of fact, the next day I went back down there to turn myself in so I can do the 60 days so I can sue the shit out their ass with the judges. Matter of fact, this is the Enterprise incident where I was arrested for calling a law enforcement officer. I ain't gonna call him no law enforcement officer. This security guard a bitch on the Tacoma Park Police Department. And the funny thing about it, they've moved them out of the Tacoma Park Police. This is the corruption that goes on. When these individuals commit criminal activity, they get them out of these and move them around to another little town. They're no longer in Tacoma Park, these two officers that arrested me for Enterprise. I know where they are because they're about to get sued too. Okay, along with Enterprise, the state attorney, and the judge that gave me these ridiculous things and violated my right to a jury trial. And this corporation called Montgomery County or in the state of Maryland, they say, oh, anything under 90 days, you're not entitled to a jury trial. That's not what the Constitution says. And matter of fact, I went to a proceeding for the same thing. And now, after this judge sentenced me with this ridiculous sentence, my attorney filed an appeal. And now, my appeal is to have a jury trial, to be tried for the same crime all over again by a jury. Go read what the supreme law of this country says. You can't be tried for the same crime twice. Double jeopardy. And the funny thing about it is, the judge that is supposed to be overseeing this has been served a document that he's about to be sued for violating my rights before that. So, you people stand by because things are about to get real hectic for this corporation and this judicial system of corruption. We're going to go even to the point of having the social media get their hands on it, because that's who we're going to nationwide. We've got a news agency, matter of fact, it's 3 of them, news agency watching this whole situation. So stand by, more to come. See you in the funny papers.